Hello. Hi, friends. We saw you chatting already. That was very cute. We're back. It's Friday Night Live, and we asked Molly to return quickly because it was such a good episode that we needed more Molly.
Yeah,
And
2 a month.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And then Shannon missed last week, but she's here. And Amber is here somewhere floating in the ether. She was with us and then she was switching to her laptop. So we should see Amber as well. So happy what?
Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, happy Friday, everybody.
Made it.
Very cool. I'm going to say hi to everybody and then we're going to have Shannon be more of the host today instead of me. I'm always more of the host. And last time Molly and Shannon was fighting for her life trying to get a comment in between the two, put two air signs on. Okay, so hi Tiger Paw, hi Dynamite, hi M, hi Barb. Let's see who else is on here already. Oh my gosh, my son's laughing so hard. In the other room, you can probably hear him. Hi Sherry, hi Sunfire Goddess. Okay, thank you all for doing what you do, coming and joining us and hanging out. Okay, so Shannon, here's Amber. Would you like to host? You want to take the front seat and I'll take the back seat? Okay.
Sure, and we can switch back and forth. And Amber's getting all set up and she'll be here in just a minute. But one of the things that we were noting as we were getting started is this was just a weird week. Like, I did a work, I don't know that you could call it a retreat or whatever, but it was a group of people that we don't usually get physically together anymore. And so we did like 2 days of planning. And I feel like I ran a marathon. And all I did was, go sit in a room and do a couple days of planning. But the weekly energy has felt off. So Molly will.
Oh, we lost Shannon.
Oh no. Okay.
Internet issues all week over here too, so I don't know. I can't promise anything on this end either.
Cue the Muppet Show theme.
Right.
Song.
But yeah, so Molly had a very similar week of weirdness and a couple weeks of interesting stuff. So yeah. Molly, tell us what you've learned because it hits very home.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And very happy to be with you ladies tonight. Very happy to be with everybody that's on with us. So yeah, weird week personally with the snow in. I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland, and it's been like ice and snow and it's like icebergs out there. Like it's absolutely insane. So weird energetic week personally, but then what's been really interesting is just picking up on the larger collective energy. So I usually don't do so many oracle card readings all kind of within a short amount of time. But at the very start of the year, a lot of people were booking time with me. And so I read for about 12 to 14 people within the first like 2 to 3 weeks of the year. And what was wild and what, as I was sharing with you guys before we went on air, that has never happened to me before, is that there was a huge trend with every single person's reading when I was doing timeline readings, so kind of just looking out for the year. And there was a huge trend for the first 6 months of the year where January through like March, April-ish was very heavy, harder emotional processing, kind of just like complicated layers of emotional processing. So some people got the message of like hunker down and kind of like, sort of like bear through it. Some people, it was about like unpacking what those things were, kind of getting proper closure, but all of it was about kind of difficult processing. And then the April to June was definitely almost akin to a tower moment. So it was like full crumbling of everything, with the need to then build back up afterwards. And everybody was getting similar readings to that. So everyone buckle in for April to June. But then once June, July, things start easing up. And then really July, August, things really kind of like felt a lot like lighter, clearer, almost like we're in the final like hurricane storm, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like we're in the final like few hours of a tornado where it's like everything is still really hard, really difficult to kind of bear, and then things are going to kind of fall from the sky in a few months, and then finally we can start sort of clearing that out. And so putting that into Chat GPT, there's definitely some alignment with what is happening astrologically. And so just wanted to share that because we are definitely not in a quiet, easy hibernation kind of thing. We are definitely dealing with sort of like the death aspect of winter. We are dealing with the transition of a lot of things and eventually going to get into more of like an easy rebirth in a few months, but we are definitely not there now. So focus on the things that you need to do, everybody, to kind of like process your things, keep yourself regulated, take care of yourself during all of it, because some big stuff is definitely happening. So yeah.
Yeah. Shannon, you placing an order for dinner?
Yeah.
This is such an organic show.
Well, and Kimberly, so you just put a bunch of the what is happening astrologically in ChatGPT into our chat. So everyone joining, you might be able to scroll down to like the first of the chats and see that. But yeah.
Wonder if I don't know how much of it'll show up. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, if you were to click on this, that's interesting. Let's see. Yeah, wait, can I? No, I can't. Okay. Well, I was curious. I mean, I know a lot of this. Sorry, I don't know a lot of this. I've been reading a bunch of different aspects that are part of when all the planets show up into Aquarius. Being an Aquarius myself, like I kind of already know what to expect, but I find it fascinating. Man, I wish I could. Well, okay. This is not going to be comfortable for a lot of people unless you're an Aquarius
Mhm.
because it's very direct, honest, like it's removing restrictions, removing. It's fantastic because it gets you out of your own way if you
Mhm.
use this energy, but that's not comfortable for most people. You know, a lot of people like to ease into their shadow work or um, they don't when things are removed from your life, a lot of times you feel guilt or shame as if you did something to cause that when it's usually the reverse. Um, when you're not fixing something and it gets removed, there's that feeling of I didn't get closure,
Mhm.
you know. Um, but if you can just remove yourself and take an observe like be put yourself in a place of observance,
Mhm.
almost like you're watching your life and the other things play out, and then you don't sit hard in your emotions and triggers, and you can see things objectively. That's when you'll realize your ego is being removed and then everything's being cleared, and it's a gift, right? And
Yeah.
so that I think that's a lot of what's going to take place.
Yeah.
It already started, and yeah, it goes through April. I think the last planet changing, there was one on the 26th or 27th.
Yeah.
We might have one more coming up in
Yeah.
in February, and then they'll all be sitting there, and it's just going to give you a chance to like really move something. You know, like it's almost like when you procrastinate about decluttering or cleaning. Like say you have a closet, we all have one where things just get piled and buried and you can't find things, or things are hidden in the back. These 5 planets are like the doors fly open, every single thing gets pulled out,
Yeah.
and it's up to you to decide what gets thrown away, what gets donated, and what stays.
Yeah.
And when you're done with that, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Because you've looked at everything. You've looked at everything that and said, does this serve me anymore? Is this making me happy? Does this require too much attention? Does this still look good on me? Is this my season? Like, is this even part of me anymore? When did I get this? You can do all that. And then once everything's back in the closet, there's all the space now and it's clear and you feel good and you feel lighter. So that's what this process is going to be like. But it's going to be hard for some people. And
Yeah.
I'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I think
guys. A lady I work with left her like fancy wedding ring at a bowling alley we went to. So,
Oh, no.
and she's in another state. So they have it, and I assured her that I would go pick it up. So sorry.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's what the phone was. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Very nice of you.
Nice.
Okay. So yes, Sunfire got us full steam ahead. Nikki, you're an Aquarius too. Hi, Nikki. I'm sure I already know that. I'm sure Shannon has told me that like 20 times.
I think it's interesting though that you were saying, not a ton of closure, but like almost there's like personal closure, and so I think that is a really good like star to kind of lasso to, or like guiding light for people, is there's so much to unpack. But if you focus on specifically what your needs are, you might be able to kind of get through this really easily. But I do think that there is kind of a theme of like, maybe not necessarily lack of closure, but that does kind of feel right. But also like not needing others for that closure. That's kind of what the theme feels like. And I'm personally going through that. I've seen some other people recently that are more like energetically tapped in, also talking about that, and really talking about how the energy is feeling a lot less of having to go through the past stories and integrate them, and a little bit more about like releasing them and then just starting to look forward. So, which I think is interesting too. So just kind of take that however people process that themselves,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Amber, do you have anything to share about this? Or are you just hanging out?
No, I like everything you guys are saying. It sounds like my life. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, like I have to get prepared to move and release everything and have no clue what's next, and it's, that little last bit of the snake energy, right? And just shedding. It's like definitely not a new year. Like, I don't know about you guys, but no, the new year has not started. And so this is just still us purging everything, and yeah, it is hard it's going to be hard for people moving forward that haven't really been doing the work or avoiding themselves, because Neptune just went into Aries, right? And so that's been since 100 and something years since it's been in Aries, like full time. And then Saturn's going to go into Aries also in February, and then we're going to have, I think, 7 planets in Aries in April. And so that's never even been like in humanity. Like, we can't even look back far enough to see that that's ever happened before.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a wild, crazy year. But also, I feel like the ones that have been doing the work, like, this is the time, right? And
Yeah.
for us to thrive and to finally be the leaders that we're been training to be, right? Like, this is it. Like, fire horse, it's almost here.
Well, there's such contradictions too, because Neptune just left Pisces for 14 years and moved into Aries, which is the most completely radical different energies. The snake, and now we're going into the fire horse, which is super intense. So we're leaving comfort zones. We're sitting in Aquarius, where it's like emotionally robotic and just very observant, and get rid of everything that doesn't serve you energy, not in a mean way, but just in like looking at it, what blatant honest truth of what we're really facing. And then when it gets into Aries season in April, it's just a ton of fire behind that, and actually a complete reset. We are going to have versions of ourselves come out that we've never witnessed before.
100%. Yeah. I have no Aries in my chart, so this is
That's
very
what I was going to say. Do you have any Aries in your chart?
I don't.
I will live with
I
an
do
Aries,
either.
so I'm Aries pro, guys.
Nice. Nice.
No.
I have 5 planets in Sagittarius, and I'm an Aquarius. So, but I have an Earth trine, and that's the only reason I'm not somewhere right now hugging a tree. Yeah, I have a ton of fire, but none of it Aries. Although all the major life-changing women in my life, not to be repetitive, but like from my mother to my business partner to my former best friend, like my personal trainer, everyone always shows up as an Aries. So when major things are going to happen in my life, it's an Aries. Luckily, Aquarius and Aries are compatible. But yeah, interesting. I have 0 in my own chart.
I got a lot of Aries men in my life, which is interesting to me because they're not very like fiery themselves, you know, but they like there's a slew of them that are all within the same week. So it's just kind of funny. But I think it's what's also interesting is that things do calm down towards the end of the year. So, you know, just in general for everybody, work on unpacking the closet, work on doing the work of organizing it, throwing out, keep safe, donate, but know that like post summer, things do get a little bit like steadier and so a little bit more stable. So hang in there.
We'll be
That's the
fine.
exciting
We're here to
part.
support each other. Just
Yeah,
remember, right?
we'll
We're
be
not
fine.
alone.
That's right. Yeah.
So when you've been doing the oracle readings, similar patterning, but did you get anything just like really that stuck out to you that you can share? Because like in looking at my own pulls, like just for myself, mine, I always think of Kimberly a lot because it's just been like 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, change. And it's funny because I went to an introductory mahjong class with some friends today. Never played mahjong. Those ladies are like super serious, and I'm like, okay, this is intense. But I also just kept getting 5s. I'm on this like 2 and 5 kick. So I don't know if you saw any like card patterns that showed up, even like a specific card that you could share.
Oh, that's such an interesting question. Not an immediate one that was that's coming up to the top of my mind. Not an immediate one outside of only one person amongst the 12 got an actual tower. That was happening in that like April to June timeframe, but everybody else got similar energy cards, but they didn't all get the tower card itself. I also usually only do oracle cards, but I do have a new tarot deck that's a tarot dragon deck that I'm literally obsessed with. I love it. And it's like super, anyway, it's wonderful. But it's each one is kind of written like a little mini like fantasy fiction, you know, story for each card. And so I only bring that up to say most oracle decks don't have something that is as clear and intense as a tower. But the fact that I was using every other deck and something that like the closest thing that it could be during that, you know, so to me that was like, whoa, okay, why are we having so much like such consistent messages of this is the end of something, you know, like that was so clear, is like this is the final part of that destruction, the final part of the transformation, the metamorphosis, whatever kind of metaphor you want to use, but it is absolutely like the final chapter. And I was just really taken aback by that kind of like destructive ending being in what is typically our kind of like right in the middle of spring, you know? And so I was like, something is higher level happening here. And I will say, I've been reading for 13 years, so I rarely question my intuition or reading with it. But when I kept getting the same messages for everybody, I'm like, am I getting biased in this? Like, am I projecting the same reading that I just had with somebody else? But I'm like, I'm using a different deck. We're talking about different things, you know, and it just kept coming up. And so that's what prompted me to actually go to chat GPT and just be like, what is happening up in space? Because there is clearly something that is happening that is affecting us here. And after, you know, after the 8th to 10th person of like kind of getting such similar readings, you know, and again, I will say I rarely have ever had such thematic, patterned, repetitive kind of readings. It just, usually it's just not like that, because each reading I do for each person individually is very much about what's going on in their life, you know, and we talk about like their job or their relationship or their whatever. But this was heavily themed, heavily patterned. And so it really also makes me believe in and anchor in the understanding of how astrology affects us, you know? So yeah, I was giving the example to someone I was just recently talking about, because she's like, you know, last year was the hardest year of my life. She had 2 losses and like lost a job and did and I was like, I hear you. And hopefully you're not going to have more worse things happen in the next 3 to 4 months. But what I said is, you know, it's similar, like everything is frequency, right? And there were 2 things that I shared with her. The first was like, if you imagine kind of like the like sound of like a bass, right? Like you can be as calm, cool, and collected as you want, but if you were like placed on a bass, you would be vibrating that same frequency, because we literally pick it up and we resonate it, right? So if we're taking in this collective frequency, you're going to be affected by it, even if you already had your own personal journey of loss and then rebuilding, you know? But the other thing I like to share with people, and just kind of helping to understand astrology in general, and this past year for Christmas, I gave my sisters who have children little birth charts for their kids, and like a chat GPT rendition of like what their birth chart for their kids is, that's appropriate for a 1-year-old, 6-year-old, 10-year-old. And what I explained to them is like, each planet, it was really cute. Thank you.
That's a great gift.
It was really fun. I made like a little like it was like a wooden circle thing, and then I used gold wire to kind of place where their rising, their moon, and their sun was, and it was really cute. And then it had a little QR code that went to a little Google Doc that had their birth chart on it. I was very proud of it. But what I explained to them, because none of them were very into birth charts or like astrology or kind of really even believing in it, and I was like, you know, everything has a frequency, right? So a pattern of light can have the same frequency that a pattern of sound does, that a color does, that all these things, right? And so if all the stars, if all the planets, if all the constellations have their own frequency, then it's like when you're born, everyone has their own individual like song, right? Because it's all these different like vibrations that are coming to you. And so I kind of set it up for them that way, to then be like, okay, now go look at your kids. And they were really astounded by like how, even for like a 6-month-old, how the birth chart actually like kind of, you know, reflected them. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, because I think it can be hard to wrap around your mind the concept that something so far away from us can affect us. But light is frequency, everything is energy, and those frequency vibrations absolutely do. And the thousands and thousands of years of birth charts show that there's definitely some trends of patterns to believe in there, you know? So astrology is key. So
No, absolutely. And I'm so fascinated with the whole astrology around where you as an individual should be for certain things to happen in your life.
Yeah.
And, you know, the whole geographic, if you're an Aquarius and you were born and your Aquarius falls on a certain house, then this place may hold value for you. And so I was playing with some maps recently, and it was very cool. It was like everybody who lives like on my property had some sort of major line that went through Texas very close to where we live. And I thought, that's very interesting because, like, I have my sister-in-laws here, my son, a friend of his, there's a collection of people. And it's amazing how much those patterns hold true. Mm-hmm. And so, it's very interesting because when I meet people and you have that similar energy, like Nikki, who's in the chat, and Kimberly have such similar energy. And, they're both Aquarians, but different charts, different people, different states. But it's really kind of amazing. And like Sunfire Goddess is on here, and she's a Leo. And, I immediately felt this very cat-like, not Lyran, but more like Egyptian energy. And that fascinates me. Now, did you see a bunch of similar patterning? Have you been looking any at 2027 or just so far 2026?
You talk about me? Nah, I never go out further than a year with people because I really believe in the concept of how timelines will shift based on decision making. Essentially that we're just, our consciousness is navigating within this physical body through the different, through like millions of timelines as we make micro decisions, right? So like the concept of going out ever further than a year is just silly from my gift, from my perspective. Just because I'm like, there's so many things that will shift, what'll happen. And also just giving people actionable information for what's actually like for the things that are like coming up, like the next like 3, 6, 9 months is a lot more the feedback I often get from people, because I do work in my neighborhood as well. So I do virtual readings, but I also have a shop in my neighborhood. And I've been doing readings at around town for the last 3 years. And all this to say, people stop me and give me feedback, and they're like, that thing that you said was going to happen happened, or, like you said it was going to be this, and here's like, you said it would be weird, and here's how it was weird, or whatever it was. Yeah. Or I wasn't going to get the job and I didn't get the job, but I got this, And so all this to say that giving them shorter time frames also makes it a little bit more accomplishable, contextual, for it to like really land for their life. So I don't like to go. And in fact, when I do readings, what I was going to say is I don't like to go out too far. And when I do readings, I'll pick up an intuition of like what time frame we're working with. So like whether it's, I usually kind of get a pretty clear word of the month, right? So I'll be like, okay, this is very much landing us right in the middle of June, right? And so all this to say that when I'm doing readings, it'll be like, oh, that's it. You're not going further than November. Can't see anything else. So all the readings I did in January, there wasn't a single one that went all the way to December. All of them stopped at November. I was like, guess that's all we're supposed to see.
Yeah. So, and that makes sense to me. And you see these people that sort of look at a longer time frame, and I do feel like sometimes that makes you feel a little stuck. Like if I were to say to you in 11 months something amazing is going to happen to you, like you're sort of in a holding pattern, waiting on that. So I feel like that's exactly right. And Amber, from a frequency standpoint, that's Amber's love language. Like, have you felt anything recently with like the frequency starting to shift a little bit? I know we had like the major solar flare activities in like the last couple weeks.
Yeah, no, I've seen it's been affecting pretty much everybody, it seems like, in some way or another, right? And it seemed like this time it happened days later though. Like when we had the big storm, the geomagnetic storm, it seemed like it took like maybe 5, 6, 7, and it lasted like 10, days plus, it seemed like. And so plus now the full moon's coming around again. So I'm definitely like already feeling the full moon, and then the Neptune shift, I totally could feel that. But then all the Aries, and then Mercury's going to go back into retrograde. And I'm just like, I could feel it. I'm super sensitive. So yeah, I can feel all that. And it's not fun. No, doesn't feel good.
Oh, it is some dense, weird energy. If I, Amber, you're in Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, yeah.
No. So Shannon, kind of going back to your concept of like where people are drawn to and just kind of like the energy of certain places. So I've never had the honor of getting to Hawaii yet. I'm dying to go. But what I have heard is that it has such sacred energy. You know, there's concepts of it having sort of it being one of the last like Lumerian kind of energies, you know. And so just in such a almost like pristine energy kind of space, do you feel like the energy impact that you feel from like those like geomagnetic storms are even more impactful there because it's like there's a clearer atmosphere in a way?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it comes through. So a lot of people say that Maui specifically, that's the island that I'm on, is the heart center. Some people say it's the heart center. Some people say, it's in the island chain, it's like the sacral, but like the emotional center. But a lot of people say it's the heart chakra of the world. And it definitely holds, all the islands hold different frequencies for sure. Each different one holds its own unique frequency. And I do feel that it's totally different here. It's the energy here. It's almost like even like during the day when these solar energies and the Schumann resonance, spikes and stuff. It's like really intense here. And it'll just hit me like right in the middle of the day, and then sometimes I'll just have to go on the grass and just solar plexus down on the grass, and but the past 2 years with the increase of the solar storms, the solar flares, and all the astrology and the comets and all the things, that it's been really intense on me. Just having to learn how to deal with life completely differently and with these energies, and I'll get these energy spikes. It'll be so intense on my body that my nervous system kind of goes out of whack for hours, and I'll be vomiting and I can't stop vomiting. Can't get it to stop no matter what I do. I can't even like breathe, like even just focusing on my breath. But it's like always when I'm it always ends up being I'm on my moon. It's either a full moon or a new moon, and there's solar flares or the volcano's going off, and it's very intense, to say the least, for sensitive people. But there's also another layer of the opposite here, right? It's like you have that high frequency and purity of the organic blueprint of Mother Gaia, for sure. Like that's what taught me everything I know through the mushrooms and through Reiki. That's how my healing journey happened, and I was introduced to them through Maui, through the land, found them ourselves. So never thought I would, work with them. I mean, when I was a teenager, something came to me and said, like, if mushrooms ever come your way, definitely do it. Like, and my intuition said that, but it was like no to acid or anything synthetic. And so mushrooms never came to me until I came to Maui, and the time was right. Wow. And so it really just helped me remember who and what I am and connect back to the divine organic blueprint of Mother Gaia. And it is so potent here, and people come here, and every time you come here and you leave, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. And a lot of people, some people don't even make it back. That can happen too. So it definitely affects people in so many ways. I worked at the hospital for years here, and so I would see the tourists come in, and like what would happen to the tourists and the consciousness that people hold, and it can definitely affect you, and it will definitely, no matter what, change your life. It's brought up deep dark secrets when people leave, and then has life altering changes after, or it's very powerful. And then the Big Island, she's completely different. She's like pure creation, fire energy. But again, you know, you can experience the high highs and the lowest of the lows. It's very potent, you know. And then Oahu is like more like the throat center, the throat chakra over there. So they all have their own different characteristics, but yeah, I for some reason was guided to Maui.
Speaking
energy
of electronic issues, it's just been, for me, it's been all day too. And, you know, so Amber will be back in a second with us, but it's such an intense energy. There she is. There's Amber.
Weird. Yeah.
It's been me too all day.
We've been having internet problems. We were out of internet for 2 days and it just came back. So they're probably still having issues.
Yeah.
But the energies, right? It's like affecting, I've heard all kinds of problems. Like we were saying during that huge storm, it's affected a lot of different things and energy systems. And like you were saying, the astrology and the energy and all these things do affect us. And therefore, we got to remember too that how powerful we are and how we affect others. And so that's obviously why we came here to hold that.
Yeah. Amber, one of the questions, Kimberly, were you going to mention that is, Amber, do your symptoms dissipate by getting in the ocean?
It basically, I have to surrender myself back to the land.
Yeah.
And just go bury myself in the sand or put my stomach down on the grass. And, you know, sometimes I'll have to sleep out there even all night because it's just, the energy is just moving so fast through my body and it's so intense. It is, I feel like it's definitely like a recalibration and our bodies are shifting and changing. And for whatever reason, I just chose to be able to feel everything as intensely as possible, apparently.
Amber sends a lot of updated texts that say, I was face down in the grass for about 5 to 6 hours today.
So we had an energy takedown. It's getting better though, you guys, and I feel like I'm just grateful for the solar storms to chill out and not have to go through that anymore, because it's almost like purging the darkness of the world is kind of what happens during that time too. And it's like, it's wild. It's hard to explain, but it's very intense, not fun.
I think that's
like going on a
a
medicine journey, like ayahuasca, but not doing any medicine. That's basically what happens to me.
Yeah.
And it was happening multiple times a month even, but now it's lessened. So
yeah,
grateful.
That's good.
Speaking of numbers, Molly, you mentioned in the readings in the sessions you were talking about things happening 3, 6, 9 months out.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a 369 hertz meditation video on my screen to the left of me, and Amber and I put that on constantly, like the frequency of the God. It's funny that, not funny, but of course that you said that, and there's a synchronicity. I wanted to say hi, Corey, Elisa, and Lua. Thank you for joining us. I know Lua from Case Park's Zooms, and so thank you for joining us. And there was one other thing I was going to bring up, and of course it's gone now. So, guess what?
I like that Corey said becoming Gaia. Exactly, like really merging with Gaia. Amber, if you don't mind me asking, do you feel like because you are doing like physical recalibration, physical purging, physical recalibration, do you feel like you are essentially like a conduit of what is happening on Gaia? Because like you're getting so affected. Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
It's literally like me and Mother Gaia, like she's sucking on my teat half the time. I don't know. It's crazy, girl. I have like the craziest connection with her. It's intense.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. I recently did a mushroom journey. I had been incorporating them for the last, like, I would say 1.5 years-ish. Because I did a big journey when I was 18 and it was too much, way too intense. Glad I did it, but took about a 20-year break. Then I finally got back into it. And it has been so beautiful. But what was really interesting, and I'd love to get your perspective on this. So I just did it like maybe about a week and a half ago. And one of the things that became kind of clearer in the session was how it's like almost like when you go to each specialist kind of doctor, you get the suggestion of how to get better based on their expertise, right? So it's like, you know, you got something going on, you go to an orthopedic, they're like, here's how you do it. You go to a chiropractor, they say, here's how to do it. And so when I was taking the mushrooms, I was like, over the last like year and a half, so much of it is about sort of crumbling your concept of our structured reality, right? And then like being able to understand what is this physical projection of things, what is the overall tie, and like kind of like the fractally, you know, kind of like almost like being in an organic thing, right? Like you're kind of like everything is connected and it's all beautiful, you know. Not every trip is like that, but it's like when you see that, I can imagine, especially in Hawaii, it is just beautiful to see the kind of visuals that you can see on shrooms there. But one of the things that came through for me was like so many of the trips I had done specifically with mushrooms was having this experience of you're the one, you're the many, you're the one, you're the many. I was like kind of like being like a polyp in a coral, right? It's like, yes, I am one. Yes, I am part of the bigger. I am one and I am part of the bigger. And I was like, oh, these are the medicines, and this is the lens of reality that is true for this medicine. There are other medicines that give you other insights into also how reality can be. And so that was a really interesting kind of takeaway from this past trip is I'm like, oh, this medicine has been working for me. I'm supposed to not do it for a little while. I'm supposed to kind of like take a pause on it because it had been guiding me for a while. And I was like, oh, much like going to different like specialists, like this is its medicine. This is its teachings. And it's not that this is the only lens of reality. This is the lens of reality within kind of our mycelium experience on Gaia, you know? And so what are your thoughts on that?
So I do think that, you know, each different plant has its own consciousness, right? And I believe that the mycelial, when we take the mushroom, we're literally ingesting Mother Gaia, basically her nervous system, her internal network, and which is responsible for sending messages to, you know, plants and trees and signals and water and food. And so it's basically like it's signaling like, okay, over here, this needs this, and it sends it, right? And so when we consume the mushrooms, that's what happens. It helps our own body remember. So for me, the mycelium has shown me that it's the remembrance frequency. So it helps you remember in your body, remember who and what you are, so that you can work optimally as this multidimensional being that we are. It helps remind us that we are, you know, so multidimensional, and opens up our senses and helps repair the nervous system. And then like and mushrooms are the only one that it's, you know, you just can grow it and take it. You don't have to mix roots and leaves and, you know, this and that. So for me, it's like one of the most intelligent, organic, I don't want to say intelligences, I guess, that we have access to on this planet, you know, in the physical form. And it's like, you know, Mario Brothers, when you're a kid and you're playing Mario Brothers and you go and you get a mushroom and it, you know, and it extends your life, right? I mean, it was trying to tell us from the beginning. It's all everything's right in front of us, right? Always. And it's just whether we want to see it or not and have the perception. And for me, the psilocybin has, you know, shown me that, you know, that we are awareness, and, you know, obviously we're not our body, we're not our thoughts, and it helps you become, you know, in the present moment, in that 0 point frequency, in the flow state, right? So that's what we want to be in as much as possible. And it, you know, hi.
She had a really good question that I just wanted to give my perspective.
I love you, Jason. Here's our Aries for the
Here's Aries, guys.
Here comes the fire horse.
Here's the fire horse. Here he comes.
Can you guys see me?
I don't know what part.
Yeah.
always. I always see you. I always see both.
So to Aloha, what's her name again?
Molly.
Molly, that long time no see. How are you?
Good to see you.
To your question on the different types of plant consciousnesses and the lenses that they carry, yes, I agree with that. But at the same time, with whatever medicine is, whether it's D ends with T, Aya, mushrooms, I now hit a space that's the same lens in any of them.
Mm.
Yeah. So it just connects me to the higher self aspect now.
Mm-hmm.
Now it has a little flavor of, this vibe or that medicine or that, but it's all very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just only showing me what's real and what's not real, and what I need to see within my own mental constructs, or, what's holding within my nervous system or body. So there is now a point where it's just kind of all the same. They just have different flavors, but I would say the lens is not really optically changing because it's connecting to the higher self lens.
Yeah.
So all of this is built a neural pathway straight to the higher self, if that makes sense.
Totally.
So I just wanted to give that.
Yeah. No, that's so thoughtful. Or that thank you for sharing that. And do you think that because you have been able to have the experience of trying different ones and kind of like integrating those experiences, trying them again, that you've been able to get to that same place where it's like you're sort of hitting that same lens, that same perspective, regardless of the method to get there?
I will tell you exactly what it is. It's Reiki. It's doing Reiki on myself every day and anchoring that higher soul cord frequency so that no matter what dimension I walk through, I'm walking through as my highest embodiment.
That makes a lot of sense, because I will say for me personally, I grew up, and a lot of people's parents probably didn't say, these are the drugs you can do. But my dad was like, okay, you can do mushrooms and there's weed, and anything else, if you want to know how it is, ask me because I've done it. And he did. But like, I've been curious about that because I'm personally very intimidated by some of the other stuff that's out there. And I mean, when it comes to psilocybin, that's super safe, very well tested. And, for me personally, that's what I'm more interested in. But I think some of the other stuff is very intimidating. So it's interesting to me that you've had the similar experience with all the different modalities. Out of anything, comparable, would you say that one is easier on the individual? Like in my mind, I always think the mushrooms would be the easiest on you as an individual. Is that what your experience has been?
Yes, except with ayahuasca, the objective is different. It's an earth medicine meant to work with density. So, and people who really want to have a smoother ride through ayahuasca, they go on dietas for up to a month or longer. And a dieta is a specific detoxing type of diet where they eat really simple foods.
Still going to be intense vomiting, though.
Not as much. You can do a lot of celery juice cleansing, which is what I do, which is I evacuate through the GI system instead of coming up here. So for 2 weeks, I'll do a really intense celery juicing every day where I'm going to the bathroom and clearing, and there's emotions and things are coming up, but there's no medicine involved. So that when I get to Aya or the mushrooms, I'm not having such a purgative effect. It's kind of maybe just kind of getting the last little bits and just kind of getting it out. I'm always about doing a lot of prep work before I get to ceremony because I don't like having the body load. And body load is just toxicity and energies we haven't really truly completely let go of yet. So, but with mushrooms, there's different varieties that can hold you a little softer, or there's also some varieties that can make you feel it a little bit more viscerally. too.
And some are more visual than others too. So we work with several different mushrooms and have got to learn a lot of them and know like their characteristics. So not every mushroom is the same, and not every mushroom is for every person, right? And some people can, but we mostly use microdosing now. Like we mostly promote just microdosing. I don't think that a lot of people even need a big journey. It can be done through microdosing in a safe, slow way that people can handle. Like you were saying, it's, it can be way too much for somebody, all at once, right? It's like, yes, some people do need that. Some people that, have been through years of talk therapy, this, that, and the other, and they're ready for it. They're like, no, I can handle this. I need this. But through the proper preparation. And there's certain people that, that's for. But for most people, average, everyday, microdosing, and you just do it during certain times. It's not something that you take all the time. It's just like, little periods, like do it consistently for a month, not every day, but just a couple times a week, journal, sit with it, integrate. You have to do the integration. You have to set your intention, all of that. It's always a ceremony every time you partake in taking any of, the mushrooms. So
for me, it's been like a volume. So like in the beginning, I used to have to do a lot of high doses to get to the center where I wanted now. But now that neural pathway has been really drilled in through meditation and breath work, sometimes don't eat anything, and sometimes just a little microdose really gets you to the same places to process, but maybe just not as much fireworks going on, you know what I mean? And actually that's a more grounded place to come from, but in the beginning, when you're launching yourself out with like high doses, you're really just trying to bitch slap your ego to focus, and once you don't need all that like training on the ego anymore, you can really go in there a little bit softer, and it can be just as potent. So I think that's what we're really talking about, is like it's got a reverse way of, once you clear less density, do you need as much firepower to to connect? No, the lighter we get, the cleaner we are. We're not going to need as much of this stuff.
Well, and then ultimately it's just it's like training wheels, right? It's just like to help remind you who much you are, get rid of the distortions, and then you don't need it anymore. It's just you train yourself, to automatically just be that newer version, and it creates the new neural pathways, helps with that. And it's not just the brain either. It helps, the gut and inflammation and all these other things, right? It works on different levels in the body. So
But love you guys. Sorry, I didn't want to crack in on the whole.
You.
Well, hi guys.
Bye.
He was on TikTok the past 5 hours and still had to keep coming, Talk some more.
This is my jam.
Yeah. But no,
Amber,
I
do you have a time? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Molly.
No, go ahead, Shannon. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask Amber, like, if somebody's new to this, is there a particular kind of mushroom that you recommend most?
Yeah, so recently I discovered P. natalensis, which is different than psilocybin cubensis. And so the P. natalensis, we're going to start growing that. We have a grow of that right now coming, but I do have a little bit. I started using that one, and it's very gentle. It's very, it brings back the joy, the natural joy in life, and it helps. It's like an embodiment mushroom, and it helps with focus, but it's very calming to the system. It's not, at all like jarring to the system. It's in me being so sensitive. I couldn't even take the psilocybin cubensis anymore because it would literally open me up like a portal, even just a tiny bit. Like when I go around certain people, and then I'd start like transmuting, and it's like, no, thank you. So I couldn't even do, the past couple of years even, but then I was guided to work with we grew the psilocybin natalensis. And so it's completely different. And so I would, once we get more of that going, I'm going to start recommending that one as a starter mushroom for everybody, because for me, it's, everybody's really looking for is to feel joy, to be happy, to get rid of that heaviness. And it really helps with that. Like And it works for days, you guys. I take a little tiny corner of a star, and it will last me like 3 days at least. Like I'll just wake up feeling like I'm excited, like giddy, like, all right, let's go world, you know. And it's like, especially right now in these times,
Yeah.
it's, you know, we can use these allies, you know, to make it through this. Because I mean, think about it, we're going through the craziest times that humanity's ever experienced, you know. And even think about the Egyptians. They had crazy like jewels and protection and shielding with all their armor, right? All these things. And we're here just like la la la, just
Wool,
just
polyester.
naked out here in this crazy energy, you know. So I just you know, want to congratulate everybody and thanks for being here on this planet and holding the frequency and holding the light and the truth. And just our frequency alone is, you know, creating this fall of the darkness and just bringing back the organic blueprint, and you're all a part of that. And so thank you. And yeah, just anything to help us and inspire us to keep going.
Major. Well, and I feel like too, you know, there's a lot of layers to the concept of, you know, feeling connected to the all, right? And it's like there's a philosophical concept, but there's so much love as the concept as well. And so like that love and that joy and being able to tap into that as part of the thread of that like mycelium connection, right? Like that is so beautiful and so missing, right? Like disconnection is a huge part of our world right now, you know.
And
So
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And the mushrooms are literally, that's what it is. It's the connection. It's the community tool. It's to connect everybody back together, connect, you know, us back to our hearts, open our hearts, release. You know, it really does help when you microdose subtly over time. It helps release the tension in the body, you know, and just and it helps you like breathe again. And it's just, and it also is the best teacher of death.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's people that do want to experience what it's like to die and don't want to fear death and want to really just have that experience and set that as the intention, you know, it's the perfect tool for that, so that we can, and I think that it's needed in, you know, nursing homes and with the people that are passing away or getting ready to pass away and their caregivers. I mean, how much would that help everybody? Just and to be pass over in a state of oneness instead of fear.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're not going to reincarnate back into that. Right.
Yeah.
So that's just what I feel it's good for and can be used for and really help people with that. Because everyone's just living in fear of death. So if you're not afraid of death and you know you're eternal, you know, and you're not going to die, then you'd probably live your life actually and be happy, right? And the world would be at peace. So, yeah.
Later.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a great teacher for remembering, you know, the remembrance medicine.
Why do you think it's better for that versus, I've never tried ayahuasca, but I've heard that ayahuasca, you literally have almost like a death experience. So like, but not a literal death experience, but a metaphoric and a perceived experience like that. So why do you feel like mushrooms are better for that?
Because I don't think that, probably because ayahuasca makes you vomit, right? More. And so with the mushrooms, you can do it in a more subtle way. And you're not, because that's too much on the body. You know how intense it is to, believe me, anyone that's going to do ayahuasca and go through the purging like that, I mean, it is very intense on the body.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so mushrooms can be too, right? But I mean, you don't need to go all the way, or you can do it, like I said, subtly over time. And even when with Jay's grandma, she was on her, she was 98 years old and she was completely coherent, but she had a stroke and she was basically bedridden and had to have a diaper. And for her, she's Japanese and she's like, no, thank you. Right. So she's like, wants to go home. And so she ended up, it's a long story, but she basically, we got her to take some mushroom honey before she passed away a couple weeks before, or actually it was probably a couple months before. And her whole like outlook started to change. And then when she passed, it was like the happiest day of her life. She literally like woke up, she drank medicine to pass. So she did it like that way.
Wow.
But we gave her mushrooms before that too. And she was really just the days before, she was really already connected to God. And we didn't even give her a full dose. We just were giving her a little bit of honey, just little microdoses. And she was totally a completely different person. And it wasn't like she was passing like a normal passing, right? You know what I mean? She was, because she knew she was, right? But at the same time, it really just connected her to God, and her God self came out, and I saw it, and she expressed it with me, and it was just the most beautiful thing. And yeah, I just think it's really powerful. And you can also microdose ayahuasca, which I've personally never done a full ayahuasca journey because Mother Nature put me on a protocol at least once a month without it. But I have microdosed it, and for me, microdosing it does give me energy. Like I would microdose it before I'd go to hula, and it was more grounding, and it gives me energy to do the hula, but it also helps me. It's funny because I'm like, my higher self comes in, and it's like the truth will come in and like bitch slap Jay as much as it can. It's like it'll just put him in check, whatever it is that's out of alignment. And so she's like, she ain't fucking around. She's like, this is how it is. So and the mushrooms are, they're more gentler, but I haven't had a full experience with ayahuasca, just natural.
Yeah, beautiful.
But and I've tried a DMT vape pen one time, and instantly when I started taking the hits, because you take like 3 hits of it, and the first thing that came to me, it was like, this is not your medicine, mushrooms is your medicine. That was the first message that came to me. Like before I experienced anything, it was like, nope. But
it's not for you.
It's like, this is not for you. And so it just, for me, it was just like, even though it's like, because with that, the experience is super fast, right? And it's not really as intense on the body. You're not vomiting or anything. It just gets you there like within seconds, right? And then you come back really fast. And so a lot of times it's like amnesia. It's like, whereas the mushrooms, you can take a lot more back with you, and it's slower, and it's like a parachute coming down. But with this, it's like in and out really quick. And I have seen profound, people have profound changes with it too, because it connects you back to source, back to God really quickly if you get to that point. But for me, it was like, I was like, oh no, I need to go back to Jay and back to Earth. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, I know why I'm here, because it's boring up there and I'm all alone and it's just nothingness. And, so it was like, I immediately was like, nope, I know what I'm doing and why I'm here and what I'm supposed to do. And so it was like, just get me back.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, for me, the mushrooms that really helped me, like, I had endometriosis. And so it really helped me like through all of that and the pain, and like realizing what caused all that. And, so yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful.
Thanks for listening.
Well, I mean, this is part of that larger theme. I don't know about you guys, but like, I know for me personally, I've been trying to work through some nervous system stuff. You go through some stuff, you feel like you're over it. And, the astrology right now, the year of the snake, all these different things, they keep bringing back up past stuff, not in like a, beat you up with it, but like, okay, this is it. We're sort of moving on. And I've noticed I've had to focus much more on my nervous system, like probably in like the last 3 months maybe than before. It just sort of like a lot of stuff has just sort of been coming back through, and I've been trying to learn to let it. And I mean, mushrooms would be an excellent tool for that. And then, what other things have you seen? Molly, Kimberly, are you seeing sort of a flow of that nervous system piece right now?
I could definitely speak on it, but I feel like I've been hot on the mic. Kim, you want to go? You're muted, babe.
I had to because I was trying to figure out where the loudest cooing was coming from, and then I realized Magi was under my desk. I finally found him. Um, so I have noticed that last year got rid of so much, all the things that were in the way, all the things that maybe like I was not, yeah, it's still lying to myself about, which sounds harsh, but it's not. It's just the way that we cope. It's the way that we slowly let go of things. So by the end of the year, so much had been removed that I was so much lighter that now I can really pay attention to myself, which is what we're all supposed to be doing at all times, right? So like really focused on myself, um, in the most non-ego way, just eyes on my own paper. And by doing so, oh, who just was that, Amber? Okay. By doing so, it has allowed me to practice. I'm aware of my coping skills, and one of the biggest ones was like breathing, and um, you breathe in, and then and then when you breathe out longer, and that tells your nervous system that you're safe. And I realized how much I was doing that, and how I was, now that all of the distractions have been cleared, I was intentionally seeking out exercises, situations, groups, friends that allow me to control my central nervous system. Um, I've noticed that I like more than ever, I've been really drawn to only that, and anything that conflicts with that, I'm not interested in doing. Like whether it's walking into stores with too much. The lighting is terrible in most stores, and I'm sensitive to that. Like I've gotten rid of a lot of things that I was tolerating for so long, relationships and stuff. So yes, major focus on central nervous system. And then I was just gifted that vibration plate, the wave vibration plate. And just in the first day, I noticed a difference, like how absolutely phenomenal that is as a tool, to not only um, drain your lymphatic system, but really balance your nervous system. And it was almost like I got the reward at the end of the year for doing all the work. It was really cool.
That's good to know. I've been wanting to try one out and see whether or not I like it. So
Instantaneously, it was funny because I have two other friends that are Aquarians, and a group of us all went up to Palm Springs last weekend for a kind of like a group birthday thing. And it was beautiful. Totally renewed my belief and love for that part of California, because I was not feeling it up until that point. And the friend that he I won't go into any of it, but anyway, he gifted me this vibration plate. So we plugged it in, and everyone used it. And it was so funny because I noticed that my friends just kept going back, and they getting on it. And it's not because it was there, or like, oh, well, he did it, so I'm going to do it. They were genuinely seeking like the balance and the good feelings that came afterwards of just, shaking up your spine and sending the right neurons firing. And, it was rad. Like I don't like gimmicks. This is not a gimmick. I've been using it day and night for 5 days, and I feel completely different.
Nice.
Physically completely different. Yeah, like
Yeah, I've used them before. It does help with balance really good.
Yeah.
It helps. It's almost like it's like a workout without having to work out, basically. And it does moves your somatic. It's like somatic movement without having to do anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, let me bring this up now. In the past, we've talked about doing a group Zoom where everyone purchases medicine in advance, and then it's a scheduled Zoom like a month later where everybody shows up and takes it at the same time, and then we're available with Jason and Amber leading it. We're available for questions, comments as you start to feel things. If this way, it's a very safe way for everyone to do it for the first time. It's what you're going to get from them is very comfortable. Like it's not going to be it's not going to be a negative thing in any way. But for a lot of people that have always wanted to try it, this would be a good scenario. So if you all are interested in that, please reach out to Star Council Legacy on Instagram or through email. And if enough people are interested in that, we can just schedule something where we all get together to do it.
That's a really cool
We
idea.
can do like a little sound journey meditation with crystal bowl and stuff, and then do a Reiki meditation, walk everybody into that. That'd be fun. And then see what people are experiencing after. That's kind of like what we do on our little ceremonies, but it'd be fun to do it online.
Oh yeah, and I mean I feel like now is such a good timing because talking about removing the heaviness, it really does. And oddly enough, the vibration plate does too. Like once you're on it and you get off, you just feel lighter for like the rest of the day. You fall asleep easier, you feel lighter. And right now, where everything is so incredibly dense, I feel that's why we're all just sort of like feeling extra called to these sorts of things.
Yeah. Gonna have to embody what we know, right? And our resources.
Absolutely.
For now, right now, because they're gonna need it. Yeah. It's definitely. I know. How much are those things? Are a couple $100 or something?
No, so okay, I keep clicking on one thing and then it goes to these other comments. It's so funny. Now it's just like random things are showing up on the screen. Okay, so the one that my friend gifted me, it was through this. It's not an accurate price point because it was through him earning points at work as a librarian, and then they're gifted a certain amount of points, and then they can spend it on this website. So he gifted the three of us anything we wanted, which was incredible. I did a search on Amazon while I was up there, and I would say the average price is $150, but I saw some of them as low as like $60.
Oh.
And to be honest, I don't see how they could be very different from one another. You know, like one might be built better. Mine in particular, it's very user friendly. You just have a little remote in your hand, and when you don't do anything but turn it on, it goes for 10 minutes. So maybe one that costs less, you might have to set the alarm for yourself, you know, for 10 minutes. But other than that, like, I don't think you would do yourself a disservice by buying a less expensive one. You'd have to do some research. I don't know. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. I always forget about that guy.
I can't tell you. So I have a lot of, I did mixed martial arts for a long time. I was a dancer my whole life. Like I've been a very physical person my whole life. Now I like to take these really long walks, and I always have pain that tends to run down my legs. So it's coming from different vertebrae and over my hips, and I'm so used to it. I just power through it because I shouldn't put it off for so long. I do stretches and stuff, whatever, right? I think part of it's my hip flexors, and I know how to fix that. Ever since I've been doing this, those pains are gone, like immediately.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that right there, yeah, it's really doing something. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a girlfriend that does anti-aging work.
Mm-hmm.
She was a healthcare exec for a long time, and when she got out of that part, she's focused on like longevity and living better. And like she does a lot of like she did like a longevity anti-aging thing in Spain, and she's like, you know, the stuff they have there in other places like puts the most amazing spa you've ever seen to shame in terms of like what they offer. But her thing to me, and I shared this with Kimberly, is the absolute best thing that she's found. She's like, her must is the vibration plate. And she's really put almost, well, no, I guess a little over a year into her like really deep diving into this.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed, because I do a lot of like neck massage at night when I do my castor oil things like for that I do for my face. And after a few days, I was like, wow, my neck feels really different. Because sometimes my lymph in my neck would swell. Like that'll happen when you don't feel well. But sometimes I could even see it in the mirror, like I looked
Yeah.
puffy, and it's gone
Wow.
completely. Like everything's been down. And the only change that I've done is, besides I've been on a pretty good eating kick and drinking water. Like I'm doing all the right things right now, but this was a significant change.
Yeah.
And it's the only new data is the vibration plate. So yeah.
I'm influenced because I've been wanting to try one out, and I've actually been doing some like I think it's like Tai Chi or Qigong, but like lymphatic drainage, kind of
With the
like
tapping and yeah.
yeah, and it's been a really nice way to like start the day and end the day. But I've got scoliosis, I've got stuff with like I can just tell that there's inflammation and stuck energy, in the physical body. And so I'm definitely interested in checking that out, and just kind of also seeing like what sort of emotions come out as like things also are just processing out,
Yes.
So yeah.
Nikki, I agree with you. It's the Sag in my chart. Yeah, I have legs that I can like kick through walls. So of course, like now on the other end of that is like if you know a overextension for so long.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Amber, if Jay wants to come back and bring up anything, like he's welcome to jump on as many times as he wants to. He can even have his own window if he wants a link.
You might be muted, Amber, unless she's
I don't
talking to
know.
him.
I don't know if it's intentionally or not. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, so Barbara said her plate has all the bells and whistles, and it was only $85 on Amazon. So there we go, everybody.
There you go.
Yeah, and always look up things that are refurbished. They have the same return policies and all that stuff.
Nice. I wanted to just chime in, Shannon, you had asked about like themes of nervous system stuff. And so one of the things that I've been noticing around nervous system, especially the last few months, is just I did a lot of nervous system recalibration when I was doing, just to share a little bit personally. So I had done a very intensive codependency reprogramming. And so codependency, for those of you that are not familiar, is when you are essentially conditioned into this uh, pattern of there's a trifecta of victim, rescuer, and persecutor. And so usually you're conditioned by parents, right? Or whomever is kind of maybe like raising you. But when you're codependent, essentially you get thrown in to these sort of like relationships where someone is like, you're the only person that can help, right? Or we're now against this other thing, or now I'm the only one that can help you, right? And so it's like this really unhealthy power dynamic and patterning that requires essentially someone outside of you to regulate your nervous system. So people who are codependent require someone else to be the rescuer, to be persecuted, that kind of thing, so that they can actually regulate their nervous system. So maybe like 4 years ago, I did this really intensive subconscious reprogramming around codependency. It was a thing called Psych K. It was fine. I'm not necessarily referring that. It was okay. But one of the biggest things that happened in it is it made me really in tune with my nervous system and recognizing what felt like regulated and what felt like dysregulated. And a huge part of that was also recognizing that, and because of codependency and because of a lot of other things that people encounter, a lot of times we will stifle our own emotions and not process them, right? So with codependency, a lot of times you're getting thrust into one of those roles and you're not able to completely process and have space for all of your own emotions through those things. And so a huge part of my healing journey was recognizing when my system was getting dysregulated, what emotions were getting suppressed at that time, how I was feeling them in the body and where they were stored, and how to get them out of it. And so it did include a lot of breath work like Kimberly talked about, but it also was like sitting with and facing and honoring that every emotion is allowed to exist, right? And that, like, just because you feel guilt or shame, that's not something that you're not allowed to face, right? That you're not allowed to talk about, that you're not allowed to honor the fact that you're feeling those things. And so I just wanted to bring that up, that a huge part of my journey, and I also think kind of really tied into my gifts, is feeling stuff. I'm real big on in feelings and emotions, and being able to pick up energetically other people's emotions about things. And so not only being a healer, recognizing kind of what's my stuff, what's someone else's stuff, what am I not picking up, how do I clear mine out, how do I become a clearer vessel. But now that it's been a few years, when there is more cosmic energetic stuff happening, I do recognize when, like, I'm having a nervous system dysregulation, and it's like not really because of something that's happening in my day to day, right? And it's like coming up from other things. And so just wanted to sort of share that as like nervous system regulation, recognizing that there's a lot of different tools that you can do to regulate your nervous system. A lot of times it is connected into the emotions and the energy in the body, and that a lot of times having nervous system regulation also is important to create the space for yourself to allow your emotions to really get processed through, to come out, to honor the fact that we are allowed to have emotions. One of my favorite things that came through in my training was emotions, like energy in motion. And so, like, emotions are supposed to flow, they are supposed to move, they are not supposed to be stagnant because they flow through us. And so, we're not supposed to keep that guilt or that shame or that fear or that anger or that sadness, because it flows through you just in the way that you don't keep only joy, right? Or only excitement or only, happiness, blah, blah, blah. So just wanted to share that as like, as people are going through like spiritual growth, that so much of it is also recognizing that this human form is holding the energy within your actual body that is correlated to things that need to pass through. And if you're trying to do nervous system regulation and you're not allowing the space for your actual self to connect in with what's going on in your subconscious and with your emotional and like energy body, you're missing a huge part of it, because what you're trying to do is regulate a physical vessel, right? And that vessel is storing things. So movement is a huge aspect. That's why vibration plates work, but also recognizing if there are emotions that are coming up that are needing to be processed. So just wanted to share that.
Feeling is healing, guys.
Yeah, feel the
True.
feeling.
Excellent
Welcome,
point. So before, thanks for joining us, Jay. I think it's important to address what tends to throw off our central nervous system. Our cortisol levels, for sure, when they are too high, caffeine, stress, bad diet, anger, all those things will spike your cortisol levels. And in order to get them down, you you uh, balance your central nervous system. I mean, there are other parts to it too, but that really makes a huge difference. And so, watch the things that trigger you into inflammation. And when you start removing those things, like I spent a year doing, it got me to where I could finally listen, and now I seek that balance point before everything else. And so it's much easier for me now. But I had to be like very honest with myself as to what was taking me there. Caffeine was one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Sugar,
really,
caffeine, being on the phone a lot, holding these devices and not taking the time to go outside and ground the energy out of the nervous system. That's why it feels good to put your feet on the earth. That's why it feels good to go to the beach. Um, During these times when we're just like constantly being hit with all these powerful energies, the collective stress, I like to look at it as like we all have kites, right? And when we're ungrounded, our kite comes out here, and this is where everyone's kite is swimming around, banging into each other's kites, feeling each other's vibes. And so that's where the collective stress is, and that's where the collective dysregulated nervous system is. And then when we go out into nature and we ground, we reel that kite back into our ownness, and we don't have to be feeling everybody else's energy. So That's just one way I like to look at it. And if we do, being in balance is doing things every day. I call it doing all the things, the things. You get up, you drink your lemon water with your minerals, you ground, you do your energy practice, you ground, you eat grounding foods, you do grounding meditative practice, and all day long, you're just doing this self-care to help keep that regular. Our intuitives, all these empaths out there, everyone that's the feelers, we're the ones that need this the most. That daily self-care of really just grounding out what we subconsciously accidentally absorb, because that's the other thing, where some of these energies we enter in intentionally, and sometimes we're just cruising and we're kind of, not really, our awareness is not full because we're tired or stressed out, and we start accidentally transmuting all the energies around us. So that's why the self-care is such a strong practice, because it fuels the awareness. And that's where the microdosing comes in, is when we're tired and the procrastination is setting in to learn these new concepts and new ways of being. Well, then the Reiki and the microdosing help support that vitality, that awareness, to get that embodiment going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No apologies needed. Are you holding, what kind of dagger are you holding?
This
Is
is
it gold obsidian? Dude.
gold obsidian.
Do I have mine? Oh, man. Oh, I have the exact same one. What's your handle look like? I have a little guy on mine. I think it's at my shop, though. I just picked it up a few months ago. I have the same one.
I got this in Arkansas.
Nice. Nice. You're connected.
I love it. This thing is just always with me whenever I'm doing virtual stuff. Like, this to me is helping ground and regulate the nervous system, so I'm not getting like
Yeah.
just a little extra ally. I love it.
100%. I've actually found it really helps with physical pain. I've been able to use it for like personal like burns and physical pain and everything too. It's been really, really powerful.
I will check into that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
No, Molly, you and me are like, and Amber, we're so alike. I started running into Molly on TikTok. We just started liking each other's posts, so that's how I know Molly. And I've seen her evolve her energy practice and her Reiki practice, and so this is a good group right here. We're all vibing.
Yeah, this is the first time we've actually ever talked it face to face before, though, because I've gotten a reading from you, but I've never actually we've never shared a video. So
That's right.
good
I
to
think
see
you
you.
popped in on my live on TikTok, and then we kind of, just communicated through the chat probably. But yeah, right on.
Totally. I do feel like Reiki really brings us thinking of like the kites as our consciousness. I do feel like a lot of people that are tapped into Reiki, we're all in a similar kind of level within the stratosphere, right? Where it's like our kites are near each other.
Yeah, we resonate because we are intentionally connecting to that source frequency. And whether you're Holy Fire Reiki, which is the lineage we teach and practice, or your Reiki Rahoyo, or your Karuna, or whatever, it's all source. We all come from the same place, right? And I'm really moving away from like the whole lineages things these days, and more just stepping into, it's an energy we can all connect to. It's your energy. It's your soul energy. And it has its own attunement process for as much as your vessel and your consciousness can expand, or handle it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
One quick Reiki question. We had somebody who usually is on air lives. I don't know. I haven't seen him in the chat, but she was interested in knowing the next time you all had any upcoming classes. So I don't know if you have like anything coming up that you want to share.
We posted. We got to post them on Instagram more. I usually just post up the flyer when a class is coming up through TikTok. So you guys can go check me out on TikTok. But I'm need to get merged back into YouTube Live. I just am able to go live now. But yeah, you can have a private class with us. So that can start whenever you're ready and our calendar is available. So we do private virtual classes on Zoom all the time. And then I also do group Zoom classes. So there's a little bit of a discount in the group one. And the privates are just, a little bit more, but it's really nice. And get to ask as many questions as you want all by yourself.
Excellent. I don't know if she's on now, but I'll let her know.
But I think Molly also teaches, so people resonate with Molly as well, right? Molly, you teach?
I have not gotten into teaching yet. So
Okay.
I'm Holy Fire initiated, right? 1 and 2. And I've been doing Reiki now professionally for 3 years, but I have actually been feeling the call to get into get my Reiki master and begin training. There's not a lot of people that offer or are familiar with Reiki in my area. I'm in Baltimore. And so I'm feeling a really big call to bring that here and to like bring more people into it. I'm getting a lot more people that are just booking because their doctors are recommending, their therapists or their physical doctors are recommending Reiki, and they just Google it and see that I've got good reviews. And so they come to me, which I think is amazing because it's such a jump, right? To try energy healing for the first time with somebody that you don't know. Thankfully, I have a lot of content online, so like people can really connect, see if they vibe with me because I'm out there. I'm public, but it's been a very noticeable shift. I would even say in the last like 4-ish months of just like a lot more people coming per recommendation from Western doctors, and it's just like, it's been a really beautiful shift to see that happen. But I feel the call from the like one to one to one to many and really be like stepping into that teacher role. So yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah, come out to Maui. We do a little Reiki Master Retreat. So that's the only one we don't do virtual. That one
Oh,
you travel out to us, and it's just like a whole week of meditations, attunements, and activations, and
ooh,
then just teaching you some of the master level stuff of how I
yeah.
like to my perspective of things. And
Yeah.
but yeah, the whole with Holy Fire, we can attune like as many people as we want really easily. Back in the old Reiki Rohoyo ways, a teacher has to personally go up to each student and open up their energy centers and do all this stuff. But with Holy Fire, it's getting back to the original way that Mikao Usui received it on the mountain in Mount Kurama. This light that came down from the sky and just hit him in the third eye. And that's similar to how Holy Fire comes in. It comes in as a very violet form of a flame, and it hits you in the third eye when you're in that process of attunement. There you go. She knows.
Exactly.
So I mean, this is just. I feel like Holy Fire. If we wanted to make separation within it, it's just getting the practitioner, the teacher, more out of the way, so we're not putting like however I'm feeling today and my physical vibration into your, subconscious imprints. So it's just really opening up the space, holding the container, and then giving the people the chance to attune why you hold the frequency and just call it in. Just call in.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, I'm gonna start looking up trips to Maui. Do you do that multiple times a year, the master training?
I do them whenever people are ready.
Okay.
Like
Cool.
it's not like there's a lot of Reiki master people wanting to be Reiki masters. A lot of people are
Yeah.
just stepping into Reiki. I have taught probably 10 in my whole 10 years. So yeah, I'm always loving to be able to pass on the teaching so that others so it can keep growing for sure.
Awesome. Very cool. I will keep that in mind for sure. Yeah. I've been definitely feeling the need. I also my outside of spiritual stuff, my background is in like tech and sort of helping businesses scale. And so a huge part of that I bring into like my concept of how I'm helping people in my community and virtually is like, how do you scale it? How do you help people understand like get the education of what it is that we're doing, and then also create how do you empower them to create their own personal containers and spaces so that they can begin doing it in a really safe way, so that they can like start trying it out and kind of seeing, because anybody can do self Reiki, right? Like that's the first level you do, and so and going to the what you had mentioned about sort of like departing a little bit from lineages, there is a really big inner conflict I have of like honoring where these trainings came from, but also in conflict of like how much capitalism has structured it into a thing of like, you pay this money and you get this level and now you can do the thing. And it's like, it's so much more about a like spiritual initiation than it is about just paying for a credit, you know? And so there's something there that I'm still kind of chewing through of like what I'm trying to offer to people, but to really like empower them with it without necessarily repeating the same sort of, I don't know, it's almost like an emptiness of the structure of it all, where it's like it really needs to be something that energetically speaks to people. Not that you have to be called into it, but it's like to get a Reiki training, it shouldn't just be kind of like read a paragraph, pay this money, da 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 da, now you're good. You know, like it should be
Yeah.
an energetic spiritual experience.
There's a lady that one of my son's friends went to see in San Antonio. And he went for a Reiki session and he, was very interested in it. And he asked her because he was familiar, with what I had shared with him. And he said, so from a spiritual standpoint, how does this affect you? Like, what have you seen while you've done Reiki? And she just looked at him and said, there's nothing spiritual about this. This is just, moving energy and, helping it flow. And he was like, what is that? And I'm like, I don't know, but like that's not how I personally see and experience it. But and she has her practice and she teaches, but she teaches a very um non-spiritual, just moving energy. And can you move energy without spirituality? Yeah, of course you can. But is it the same thing? And when you said that sort of two things, like to me, that's the other side of that coin. That's the side where you're not getting the full experience.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's being wide open to something, and then there's like just only allowing a trickle of it to come in, right? Because like we all have the right to accept and play this game with whatever we're talking about. You know, we can create all of this. Um, the only reason why I believe in teaching levels of Reiki, and I'm not one of those teachers that smashes level 1 and 2 in a weekend. I don't do that. I want there to be at least I prefer 6 months of breadth of you working with just regular Reiki energy all day long before we introduce one symbol, another symbol, because these symbols have different energies themselves.
Yeah.
So I want my students to be able to differentiate between the subtleness of each of these energies and then the attunement of the holy fire energy, which is even different than that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like these frequency streams. And then to the point of the kid asking the question, like, where does Reiki come from? Well, that's where the mushrooms get really interesting. So when I when I want to dial up going home and ask that question, because I've done that a few times, um, I want to go, where does Reiki come from? So this is our third eye, right? And so as I'm laying down under this amplified structure, this pyramid above me, which is being like a big focused satellite dish, I'm giving myself Reiki to my third eye. As soon as I'm connecting to my source frequency through my third eye, that's the phone line. That's the phone number home. All I got to do is now just keep that connected for about 20 to 30 minutes until I pop through the third eye portal, and all of a sudden you're home and the higher self is there. This is how I journey every single time. And it always takes me, like I said, to the same space no matter what medicine I'm under. So it's just using that and what it is, whether it's Wachuma, the cactus, or Aya, or the mushrooms, or even cannabis, it's amplifying my intuitive center is what it's really doing. You can start merging because the Reiki is holding the space greater than any medicine because that's your soul cord. So now it's kind of more of using uh, the medicine as a guide and a nitro pack to get there a little faster. But this is your frequency right here. And as long as you stay within that bandwidth, and I'm enacting Reiki symbols the whole time through the journey, that just takes me right back to home. So that's how I was able to really find out, where does Reiki come from? Well, it took me home. That's where it comes from, and I went there, not once, not twice, many times. And I actually don't see elves and fairies and stuff like people talk about. I either go to the angelic realm or I go back to unity consciousness. There's just really no in between from my frequency, because it's that embedded in my template. I don't watch horror shows. I don't watch, I'm not into a lot of really weird stuff. I love my galactic sci-fi stuff, but it's really kind of like what you program your templates with is what you'll experience.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
I love that. I love third eye work in general. I think I have a very resonant third eye. I've always been very creative, very connected in that way. And I think I've been able to really harness and channel that energy as my like third eye has opened in especially, so I do Reiki, I do readings, but what I would say I've been like fine tuning is more of what I call chakra clearings, but they're sort of like an Akashic records journey where I'm using my third eye and I'm seeing everything kind of play out. And I feel like mine is very strong to the point that when I'm doing Reiki for people, oftentimes, especially if it's their first time having Reiki, their third eye will begin like tingling and opening, and like they will start seeing whether it's lights or colors or visuals or even just imagery itself. And so it's interesting that you were saying that like the third eye is specifically like the phone home, because that feels like the strongest chakra of mine, even including like the crown and the higher ones, like the soul star. And so being able to kind of really help and enable and empower people's third eye feels like giving them but instead of having them do medicine, it's like if you can help them kind of start unlocking that third eye energy, that gives them a taste of the thing that is outside of this visible reality, outside of our known reality. And it's like it's the baby steps into really understanding what is so much more out there for us. But it can also be a little jolting, right? If you like get a little bit too much going on and you're like, whoa, too much information, or I don't even know what to do with like the visuals that I just saw. And so anyway, I just really resonate with the fact that like the third eye is specifically what you use when you connect in. I'm going to use that. I don't specifically do that, but I'm like, because I do hands-on Reiki anyway, and because my third eye is already activated, I'm interested to see what's going to happen when I do that. And for those listening, tap into your third eye, do some third eye activation stuff.
without medicine, this is what I used to do back in the day, because I didn't always work with mushrooms. I would just sit and give like 2 hours to my third eye, like
Wow.
like every day. Like,
Yeah.
see what happens when you start doing stuff like that. I've seen a lot of people don't really like just exercise it and exercise it. It's a spiritual gym. Reiki is a toolbox, but it's also unconditional love with source consciousness that is here to give us guidance, empowerment, and life force vitality. Straight up.
Yeah.
So the more you do that, it's gonna do work all your intuitive, your crown, your third eye, your channeling abilities. It just helps reinforce that and make it that much more clear.
Yeah.
Now, people who work their channel but might not necessarily do Reiki all the time, that's the same thing. They're connecting to their soul cord, and that we don't need to put labels on everything. But for those people who haven't found their soul cord yet, they haven't found the ability to feel themselves yet. Reiki is a really good systematic practice that brings you into connecting to your higher self and the energetics of the world around us. But
Yeah.
some people already naturally don't, need that. And some of those people are here. So
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Um, welcome, 5 Stages of Gods. That's such a cool name. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, it's like this with all different subjects all the time. This is definitely a community, and you will definitely find your tribe here. Uh-oh, Jason. What happened to Jason? I have to keep muting myself because my birds are just so loud today. Um, I like how this totally turned into a Reiki and a third eye discussion.
Yeah. Mushrooms, Reiki, and third eye. Good topics of conversation.
Yeah. Yes. There we go. Okay.
Well,
Very
Me.
fun.
There it is.
welcome back. Well, and just kind of slightly pivoting a little bit back to Amber, some of the things that you were saying, which is like one of the bigger challenges is the integration that happens after, trips and stuff like that. And so it sounds like what you guys offer in individual and group exercises is so supported, for people going through it. And I've had some people reach out to me that have done what is it? Is it DMT, like almost like clinical DMT experiences where it's like open their mind up to all that there is, right? And then like they did it at like Johns Hopkins, and then they're like, okay, good luck, bye. And then they don't do anything to support them. And I'm like, that is literally ethically harmful.
And that's the problem, right, with psychedelics and what's happening right now. It's like, yes, they do help, they can help, but they can also be very destructive too. Just like anything, right? Everything in moderation and safety, and
Yeah.
it's just they're doing some crazy stuff out there with medicine, and we got to be really careful with and especially like even where the medicine comes from, who's making it, what is it made of, what's really going in there, and very trusting your guides. And it's very powerful, right? And it can, as you know, and we all know, it's can be life transforming, but also it takes a lot of reverence and care and intention and cultivating it to work. And it's really about building a relationship with yourself. When you go to microdose or do these medicines, it's really about learning about yourself. And so we just got to remember that that's what we're using these for. And there's like ketamine, there's trying to use that, and MDMA and all these synthetic drugs. But from what my experience has been with that stuff, I haven't personally done it, but from what I see with clients, it's very addictive, and it's just to disassociate. And so it's just another drug for people to be addicted to disassociate, just like all the rest of them. So again, it can be helpful, I guess, in some, ways and places and whatnot, but everything, and it's psychedelics aren't for everyone, right? And it's all about nervous system regulation when it comes back down to all of it, like we were saying, right? It's really goes back to the nervous system regulated and feeling your emotions. And that's also what psilocybin's really good about, is allowing people to feel again. And if you're not ready to feel, and you're not one of those people that want to feel, it's not your medicine until you're ready, because that's what it's going to bring up whatever you're resisting within yourself. So yeah.
I mean, for me, it always feels like my mind, my body, and my spirit are more integrated.
Yeah.
It's like we each time in the beginning when I was first going in deep a lot, I was shifting, I was young, I was purging with big deep breath, and each time after that, like week of integration, I would notice I was a little bit more clear with my higher self, and I was a little bit more in tune with everything around me, and my intuition was more on point. And I could also fall off of that frequency too by kind of like, having a bad diet, after that, or getting in and argument, or letting my energy get off tilt. But as I did more and more Reiki and more journeys with my medicine, and kept clearing and releasing, I just felt more higher self connection each time. It was just building on itself. So I really believe that this is a system that's meant to help clear our distorted field so we can enter in more of our divine truth.
Yes. Yeah. Are you guys hearing the feedback like I am?
Yeah, it's really bad.
I don't know how to fix that.
I muted because I thought maybe it's me, but it didn't help.
Yeah.
Let me
I
see
could-
if it's me.
It's not feedback, it's like scratchy. So I don't know if it's just a connection issue or if it's a. Okay,
I
it's
thought it
off.
was my speaker going out. I'm like, shoot, my computer's taking a crap right now.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Okay, I'm not. There's a slight glitch here and there, but
Yeah, I'm hearing it when any of us speak.
okay.
Seems like it's getting worse, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I hear birds.
I hear the birds.
Yeah, the audio is totally scratchy.
Somebody say something. Do you hear it now?
I know we'll have to practice. Yeah,
No.
still has it.
Well, we've been on for 2 hours, so maybe
I guess that's
Their
Spirit
time.
saying enough. Spirit's like, okay.
we need to balance some central nervous system on the computer here. This is really weird. Okay, well, I'm sorry, everyone. Thank you for sticking around with us as long as you have.
Yes, thank you.
I'm hearing all my feedback here too, and I didn't get a chance to say hi to Tiger Paw and also my friend Sydney. I saw you were on here earlier. Oh, I don't hear it anymore. Do you guys still hear it? Is it gone?
Sounds like it.
Okay. Okay.
I can hear it on my end, but I have me on
Oh.
mute. So I'm just going to stay on mute. But I think it might be Jay because it didn't start until he started coming on.
Well,
Are you hooked up to your speaker thing? Anyways.
hey, I can go live on YouTube now, Molly. Like you, me, and Amber, and we could do more Reiki talks. It'd be totally fun. Let's hang out.
I would love
sometime.
to. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. Anytime.
Hey, thank you, Kim. Nice to see you, Shannon. Aloha.
Good to see you too.
Good to see you. Aloha.
Aloha.
I was just gonna say real quick, just from a like a human level perspective, mushrooms have been fantastic with my ADHD. So that like brain rewiring, the neural path, like, I mean, it is nervous system reset, and then it is total brain like clearing through the drawers, creating new structures, doing all kinds of stuff. It's been incredible. So
Yeah, for sure. The P-Natalensis is really good for the ADD for me because I have it, and it's like keeps me focused on point. I can get things done. I'm like, okay, where have you been all my life?
I'm interested.
Same here.
Yeah, we're growing a fresh batch right now, so I do have a little bit though. If anybody wants some, if you guys for special people, friends or whatever, I'll send out some. I can send out like samples and stuff, so you can at least start trying it because
I would love to try it.
yeah, it's my new favorite. But Tat is always a good beginner too. True albino teacher is really good for beginners too. So
Yes.
but yeah. Have you ever tried Jack Frost before?
I don't know if I have.
No. Okay. Well, we could talk about it later. Love you guys. Thanks for being here and all that you do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tiger Paw, I saw that the Little Sedona San Diego conference is coming this weekend, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. But if you are here, obviously you're here. Enjoy it. And it's really hot this weekend, so prepare for that. God,
That must be like I've got feet of snow outside.
yeah. Okay, you guys, I know this
Love you guys.
the sound is horrible, so we're gonna say goodbye. But thank you for joining us, for staying, for all the good questions and the beautiful chat. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Love you.
Thank you.
Good night.